On April 25th this year, Zullaz Mannan, founder of the only LGBT magazine in Bangladesh, was hacked to death in the nation's capital city Dhaka. Mannan, who was an employee of American Development Agency USAID, had founded the magazine Roopban in 2014 to create solidarity for LGBT communities in Bangladesh, where homosexual relations are criminal. As per media reports, he was killed with one other person in his apartment by a gang of 6 people who posed as queer boys. In a recent development, Bangladeshi police officials have arrested Rashidun Nabi, the prime suspect in Mannan's murder case. Nabi belongs to a Bangladeshi extremist organization also accused of the recent murders. Mannan's killing was the latest incident of crimes against journalists, also followed the murder of 4 secular bloggers and a publisher by Islamic extremists in 2015, reports the Committee to Protect Journalists. According to their research, 20 publishers, reporters, commentators, and broadcast journalists have been killed since 1992 in direct reprisal for their work. Only one of these cases received complete justice, while a whopping 15 murders were carried out with complete impunity. Many journalists and bloggers are also being imprisoned in Bangladesh for their anti-state views. Thus, press freedom in the country is under attack from all sides.
The murder of Elitio Ramos Zarate, crime reporter for the newspaper El Sur, on June 19, 2016, has been the latest in a long row of assassinations of Mexican journalists. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, there have been 9 documented murders in the state of Oaxaca since 2000, 14 since 2011 in the neighboring state of Veracruz. Those journalists reported about political deficiencies, organized crime, or like Zarate, about the protests of the regional teachers union where he was threatened by masked men. The next day, he was shot in the head in broad daylight. The Federal Prosecutor's Office, that is meant to protect journalists, has not been able to convict suspects for these murders because they fear to put their lives and the lives of their families at risk. Many reporters have started to censor themselves. Press freedom in Mexico is in a disturbingly bad state.
Sami Jawdat Rabah, an online reporter for Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, was killed at the end of last year by the group known as the Islamic State. And the Committee to Protect Journalists definitively reported his murder following the release of a video in June that showed Rabah being killed alongside 4 other journalists and media workers. In a gruesome parody of his career, he is apparently killed when an explosive device attached to his laptop detonates. The Islamic State have killed at least 27 journalists since 2013, and 11 others are missing and feared dead. Yet the picture for journalists is dismal, whichever way you look at it. In regime-held territory, rebel-held territory, the censorship, self-censorship and persecution that those brave enough to report on the civil war face constantly should weigh heavily on the conscience of every player inspiring conflict in the country today.
It has been almost a year since Atala Diniz was gunned down by the side of the road in northern Brazil. Diniz worked as a press secretary for the local mayor's office, but also published blog posts and interviews with public officials in the state of Maranhão. While he worked for the mayor, Diniz wrote about scandals and alleged wrongdoings of other politicians, as well as political opinions in small-town news. This is still according to his friends, because his website, ataladiniz.com, has been deleted. His friends say Diniz began receiving death threats in 2012. There are many bloggers in Brazil, and they are all understandably shaken by the news. Brazil ranks 9th worst country in the world on the Impunity Index with the Committee to Protect Journalists, a ranking of the countries where the killings of journalists most frequently go unsolved. Since Diniz's death, 2 other bloggers have been killed in Maranhão. All are unresolved.
Fausto Valdivieso, journalist from Ecuador, was killed in April 2013. He was shot 3 times on the way back to the northern city of Guayaquil by a group of hooded men, and the investigation is currently suspended, even though there have been witnesses who have claimed to recognize the murderer. Little is known about the reasons why Valdivieso was killed. However, local sources confirm that he was only attacked the day before his murderer, even if he didn't report the incident to the authorities, and that he was target to several death threats throughout his career. Fausto Valdivieso has been a distinguished journalist after more than 30 years of informing the community in Ecuador and to strive for transparency. He investigated the irregularities of the Ecuadorian government for several years, and he even had to resign from his position at TC Televisión because of different pressures received by the government and the TV channel's executives. However, the crime is still unresolved, and Valdivieso's family has strongly campaigned to end its impunity. However, any time that they have raised the voice, they have also been receiving death threats. This is only one example of the several unresolved crimes against journalists in Latin America and the Caribbean. Such unresolved crimes damage severely freedom of expression and information, and as such, they must be properly investigated and punished.